Some figures first. In 2023, Ukraine captured 370 square kilometers of its own territory, a bit less than half of what Russia annexed in all 2023. In total, Ukraine recaptured 14 villages in Donetsk and Zaporizhia Oblast, with a total pre-war population of around 5,000 people. Good afternoon, this is Henry Kino on UATV English, giving you some hard truth of the whole 2023 year in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine as usual. But this episode is hardly about figures and kilometers and statistics. It is about the main and most important thing about the Ukrainian counteroffensive. It is still onwards. It did not stop. It is not a stalemate. There is no fatigue. This yearly summary goes directly to all of the sofa-based military experts of the world, whining all year through why Ukraine is not fighting as per NATO doctrine and all is so very slow. Please, the experts, read my lips. Ukraine is not fighting as per NATO doctrine because Ukraine is not NATO yet. We have no NATO military capabilities yet. But if we did, only if we did, the war will be over a long time ago. I even dare to think that maybe there will be no war at all. We would love to fight as per NATO doctrine. Please accept my reassurance in that. Just accept us as NATO members. That's it. Or if the transatlantic alliance cannot accept Ukraine as a country at war, then maybe they can accept only one Ukrainian man. Say, Commander-in-Chief of Ukrainian Defense Forces Valery Zaluzhny. That should be enough to add some determination, courage and real combat experience. And that is exactly what NATO needs, I believe. All Ukraine needs is Russia out of our lands.
So, your question is if we are ready to give up our territories? The question is not only about our words or thoughts. The question is about for what we are ready and for what we are not. How Ukraine is able to give up these territories. That's insane, to be honest. We are mentioning that very openly. It is not that. We have our people there. We have our families there. We have children there. It is part of Ukrainian society there. And we are talking about human beings. They are being tortured. They are being raped. They are being killed. And those voices that call for us to give up our territories, they offer as well for us to give up our people. That is not a matter of territory, that's a matter of life, of families, of children, of their histories. I don't know whose idea it is, but I have a question to these people. If they are ready to give up their children to terrorists, I think no.
You know, there is a famous formula by Albert Einstein that states that E equals mc squared. It is a mathematical fact, and it does not in any way matter what you think of it, or me at all. So whether you believe it or not, whether we disagree with it or not, whether we all try to overthrow it and prove it's wrong, it does not matter. The formula is right. It is true. It is working, even if you do not understand it or do not see it working, actually. This is exactly the case with the Ukrainian counteroffensive. And this is exactly why we expect further arms deliveries from the civilized world, because Ukraine actually is a last fort on the way of the Kremlin hordes towards Europe. This is a solid, concrete fact, believe it or not, and this is why the US will supply us with weapons, because of the fact that they clearly understand if they won't, it's their soldiers who will die on the battlefield next. The fact is, Europe and the United States and everyone who considers themselves civilized should turn to and stand for Ukraine, because our victory is of utmost importance, whether you like it, believe the fact or not. Your autocrats and dictators that around the world are keeping a close eye on the results of Putin's criminal warfare and venture, beware. And Ukrainians are not willing to give up or opt for peace at any price, since we know by our own grim experience living next door to a terrorist neighbor, the Kremlin's success, even so partial, will only inspire Putin of further aggression and others like him to follow in his footsteps. His defeat will make it clear it is a mistake even to try. Ukraine's victory will state an Einstein solid fact. The world needs no more dictators. We are through with empires. But voices heard now and then, you know, Henry, all good, you may be right, but why is the Ukrainian counteroffensive is slow? Well, here is a stubborn fact again. Wars of such a scale are simply not going like that. They are fought in stages. Some of those stages may be more successful than others. What matters is the end result. That means fully restoring Ukrainian territorial integrity and bringing to justice those responsible for international crimes, goals that are both clear and feasible for all global sake. These goals will remain military feasible just as well as long as three factors coincide: adequate military aid, including jets, UAVs, air defense systems, artillery ammo, and long-range capabilities that allow us to strike deep behind enemy lines; rapid development of defense industrial capacity in the United States and Europe as well as in Ukraine, both to cover Ukraine's needs and to replenish US and European-owned stocks; and a principled and realistic approach to the prospect of negotiations with Russia. That means we are ready to discuss how Russian troops leave our land, taking their Tsar's ill imperial ambitions with them. We are ready to discuss how sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine are restored, reparations paid, and international criminals held accountable. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called a just peace, and not a respite for an empire to strike back. May George Lucas forgive me. So to resume 2023, Ukraine is here, right where it always was and always will be. Our counteroffensive is onwards, and what we ask of our friends and partners around the globe, please have faith in us in 2024. Think of us, please, as our brothers in arms who are fighting a valiant and courageous fight, so to make sure, dear world, that you won't have to. Slava Ukraini. It was a long and bloody way. Still, the summit of the European Council decided to start negotiations on Ukraine's accession to the EU. I would dare to say this is the most important event of the year. This is a historic event, no less, for Ukraine and all of Europe, and a diplomatic victory that motivates, inspires, and strengthens.
And Putin gained nothing over the year, neither in the battles against Ukraine, nothing, nor in the attempts to divide and demean Europeans. And he lost everything this year. It's crucial that he lost not just in Ukraine, but in every aspect of European life. Europe maintained its unity, and Europe didn't let its people get dragged into any of the crises the Kremlin always dreams of. And you all realized that now is not the time for half measures or hesitation. Europe has made strong decisions. I'm very thankful. Europe made strong decisions and implemented them effectively.
One more thing. Ukraine's accession talks debunk arguments about the alleged total corruption of Ukraine or the futility of the struggle of the Ukrainian people. We see where it all comes from. The Kremlin is pissed off. Sorry. Well, of course, as this is, no matter how Russia tried, do not let it happen, a clear sign of a positive impact on international support for Ukraine, both from inside and outside of Europe, in the United States and other partner countries. The whole world got a signal which reads like that: Ukraine is on the right track on its national will. It is carrying out reforms and integrating into the European Union. It is a source of motivation for all our people, and especially for soldiers. The European Union recognizes the aspirations of the Ukrainian people and expects Ukraine to be part of the European family. This decision to open negotiations is more than just well-deserved. Not only Ukraine has fulfilled all the EU recommendations, but it spills its blood for European values. Could there be any better litmus than that? Now, what is next in plans for 2024? It establishes guidelines and principles for conducting introductory negotiations. After that, first intergovernmental conference should take place, as well as the screening of Ukrainian legislation takes place, followed by negotiations on 35 separate chapters, which reflect 35 respective chapters or spheres of the country's integration into European Union. At the end of the process, there is a beginning for Ukrainian that awaits: the ratification by the EU Parliament announcing the most anticipated event for our nation at war for sovereignty and dignity. Ukraine is becoming a full member of the European family. God bless America. That is a sort of a summary of all Zelensky's trip to the United States of America and Biden's trip to Ukraine, in particular, and all of the US-Ukrainian relationship 2023 in general. God bless America, and Ukraine is also not just sitting and waiting.
Stand firm. No matter what Putin tries, he hasn't won any victories. Thanks to Ukraine's success in defense, other European nations are safe from the Russian aggression, unlike in the past. Ukraine can now tackle the Russian dictatorship So our children and other nations won't have to shed their blood and sacrifice lives defending against Russian aggression. We've already made significant progress. We've shown that our courage and partnership are stronger than any Russian hostility.
Remember on Monday, February 20th, 2023, President Joe Biden slipped into Kyiv for the first time since Russia launched a criminal full-scale invasion of Ukraine, demonstrating, I quote CNN, in dramatic personal fashion his commitment to the country and its struggle. This visit was indeed highly secretive and took place as air raid sirens could be heard blaring out around Kyiv, while two presidents, Biden and Zelensky, going on a walk around the gold domes of St. Michael's Cathedral, just as simple as that. Biden's visit came at a critical moment for Ukraine in the 12th month of the war. Well, a friend in need, right?
1 year ago, the world was bracing for the fall of Kyiv. Well, I just come from a visit to Kyiv, and I can report Kyiv stands strong. Kyiv stands proud. It stands tall. And most important, it stands free.
During the last month of 2023, President Zelensky paid an important visit to the United States, where he met with members of both parties and chambers of the U.S. Congress and held talks with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. The questions on the agenda were how to increase common strength for the upcoming 2024. We all know how Ukraine needs air defense and capabilities to destroy Russian logistics, to strengthen global democracy's arsenal. Yes, good guys must have weapons. Co-producing arms is a must. More sanctions and more economical and political isolation for Russia just as well. It was perfect that Ukraine managed to send a strong signal of our unity to the aggressor. I'm talking about the unity of Ukraine, America and Europe and the entire free world. The US and Ukraine, these are the times of tremendous responsibility for countries' leaders. For Ukraine, our war for freedom and self-determination is being fought on two fronts, domestic and international. The highest price is paid today in Ukraine, human lives and truly immeasurable suffering. I could give you more figures and statistics. Just imagine, someone you love is simply not coming back home tonight. Now imagine the whole family. No one is coming back anymore. That is how we live every day in Ukraine, under the constant threat of being murdered by new Russian missile incoming, or kamikaze drone debris, or crazy Russian Tsar finally going completely mad and nuclear. But we carry on, and we understand this fight would have been ultimately doomed without you, without the support of decent, compassionate nations, whom we are proud to call partners and friends. The United States of America. Millions of lives and the destiny of the rule-based world depend on our successful collaboration. I said that before and will repeat it now. Pulling the plug on the Ukrainian military will only encourage Putin to become even more ruthless, but it won't prevent us from fighting. We won't stop. We have no choice, you see. To be honest, it is not the question of a choice even. This is our home, our land, our lives, our future, and we, the people of Ukraine, remain. In regard to negotiation with this mill of lies, producing it on an industrial scale, Russia, so far there is not a single indication that the Kremlin is ready to discuss anything but Ukraine's sovereignty, complete destruction. Trust us, Ukraine is only Putin's first step towards the sea as he sees reshaping the world, or in a Russian-Soviet mayhem, whatever he sees. Given this ill idea, let me express a grounded hope that Ukraine and the US and Europe will stay united in this will to survive and strive in a world where imperial ambitions are considered outdated and are doomed. And no country in the world would have to go through what Ukraine is going through these days anymore. That was all for year 2023, dear folks. I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all our UATV English team and myself, Henry Keane, as usual, giving hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. If you like what we do for you, well then please give us a small sign of respect in return. Subscribe, like and comment. Express your thoughts. Trust me, it matters a lot to us. Thank you for 2023 and stay safe and tuned for more UATV English in 2024. Let us all have a good one. Take care.